Good morning, everyone. This is Emily Kestrel. I am back with another haunted cemetery tour. This one is Greenwood Cemetery in Decatur, Illinois. This is a place that has many spooky legends and paranormal stories. It's known as one of the most haunted cemeteries, not only in the state of Illinois, but perhaps the entire Midwest. Here is the Barrackman staircase. This is supposed to be one of the haunted sites. Shall we go up, Jared? The story of this particular spot is that a woman back in the 1920s was engaged, and she was going to meet her fiance here at night so that they could run off and elope. And unfortunately, he ran afoul of bootleggers and was murdered. And so she killed herself or died of grief, something like that, a few days after. I think that is the story. Well, Dred, let's walk back down and do a little vibe check. My highly scientific paranormal meter. My gut feeling. So, back at the staircase, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not spooky at all, just an urban legend, and 10 being Call the Exorcist, I'll give this particular spot a 3. Here in the daytime, it's not particularly spooky, but it has potential. And just for a little bit of backstory, according to the paranormal literature, this particular spot has been spooky since long before European settlers decided to come to Illinois. Apparently, the Native American tribes who lived here, which were, I do believe, the Kickapoo and Potawatomi tribes in this area. I know they were part of the Illinois Confederation of Tribes. That's where the name Illinois comes from, the Illini tribes. Anyway, the story goes that they did not camp or settle here in this area that became Decatur. Apparently the land had a reputation for being untoward even that far back in the past. Although they would bury their dead here, they would not actually spend much time while they were living. Then the settlers came along and, of course, paid no mind to the Native American knowledge of the land and did set up a settlement here in this area that's now Decatur. And apparently this graveyard was officially founded, I think, in the 1820s. Don't quote me on that. And was at one time quite the spot to be buried. Like if you were, wealthy and respected, Greenwood Cemetery was where you would be buried. However, they did fall on hard times financially. And at one point, the cemetery was in such poor repair that people had to intervene to improve its upkeep. So a lot has happened here over the past century or so, a couple centuries actually. So regardless of ghosts, there is a lot of history. And even if they're not haunted, I just love old cemeteries. I think they're so fascinating. Looks like they've got some headstones down the hill there. So somebody might be filming me filming. Now, one theory that I have encountered a few times is that with these so-called haunted cemeteries, it's not necessarily any particular ghost or spirit that's causing all of the paranormal activity and spooky feelings. It's that the cemetery just so happened to be built on a portal, a place where there's like a door between dimensions where different spirits or energies could potentially cross over. And if it is true, which I have absolutely no idea if it's true or not, that the Native Americans also considered this land here to be a bit creepy and they did not want to linger along, that would definitely lend credence to the idea that this spot might be a portal between the realms. That's why I was just about to say that I was getting a bit of a headache. Right when I was looking at these and looked up over here. Oh yes, this is one of the most haunted spots in the cemetery, if not the most haunted, where the Civil War soldiers were buried. Right here. And for atmosphere, we have a hound howling in the distance. There was someone from 7th Kansas Cavalry, R.H. Bennington. Mexican War. And you see here so many of these stones. Unknown U.S. soldier. Unknown. Again, unknown. And the story behind these unknown soldiers is a very sad one. Apparently, there was a train going through Decatur. There are still many trains going through Decatur, but this one was taking Confederate soldiers who were prisoners of war during the Civil War further north to a POW camp. And there was an outbreak of yellow fever, creating just massive deaths among the soldiers who were being taken on this train. And so they buried them here on this hill. And I have no idea if this is true or not, but the legends say, and I hope they're wrong, that some of them were not entirely dead when they got buried, which would definitely explain, if this is true, why this particular spot is known as one of the most haunted locations. There we have a little mishap, technical difficulties. Here's some Illinois soldiers. Here's a little statue, a memorial to the unknown dead of the Civil War. And then at the bottom, in honor of Mary Weingartner, Civil War nurse. So this spot is a very heavy and sad spot historically, a reminder of a lot of tragic loss of life and a dark period of history. But is it haunted? Maybe. That's my final vibe on the matter. Maybe it is. I would say the energy or vibe here is probably a 5 out of 10. It'd be interesting to do a paranormal investigation. Got more soldiers here on the hill. So from one direction we've got the historic cemetery, the unknown soldiers, the slightly creepy vibe. But let's just keep it real. Things are not always purely spooky or purely mundane. We just turn to the side and there's the water treatment plant. I am happy that for an urban cemetery, it's not as noisy as some that I've been to. I feel like Dred and I kind of have it to ourselves right now, which is nice. Let's keep strolling on. James Richards, son of James and Clara Meyer. Oh, that's sad. He lived 2 years. Ooh, look at you jumping up there. I have to walk around. Some people think it's morbid of me to enjoy exploring cemeteries. I personally don't feel it's morbid. I do come here with respect. And just curiosity about who these people were and what their lives were like. But I do think you have to be comfortable with the thought of your own mortality to really enjoy these excursions. Now back here in this area, my highly scientific spooky meter is back down to maybe a 2. 2 out of 10. Oh, here is one of the older stones. Joseph Bundy, maybe? Died 1894. Looks like he has some plants growing at the base of his stone. Here's another one. Edward Saylor. Died 91. And that's actually a new variation on, I've mentioned in my other cemetery videos how the symbolism of the book or the open book was quite common back in the 1800s, but this is the first time I've seen the book just kind of like at the top of the stone, like there's literally an open book on top of the stone. Some of the older stones. I am here filming this the last weekend of August. We have just finished quite the heat wave. Had a bunch of storms Friday night and yesterday. This is Sunday. And now it is humid, but thankfully the heat wave has temporarily at least passed us by, which is such a relief. Well, look at that. That is amazing. That's probably one of the best things I've seen in this cemetery so far. You want to be commemorated in your afterlife? What have you got? You've got grass seeds all over your face. Thomas Watts. So I had a brief pause due to an interruption of the earthly variety, I noticed the cemetery maintenance vehicle pausing beside where I had parked down at the bottom of the hill. So I went running down there to make sure I was allowed to park there and everything was okay. And he said, yeah, he was just stopping to look around because he'd seen it been parked there for a while and didn't see anybody around it. And I'm like, yep, that's me. And he said, okay. So moving on. I'm actually kind of glad somebody's keeping an eye on things because this cemetery is not in the best part of town. Very cool cemetery though. Come on, Trent, let's go on up. Ready to go up? Wow, the Shellabargers have quite the monument. I wonder if that arch is one of the other allegedly haunted spots. Let's go take a closer look. Yes. This arch is another one of the allegedly haunted spots. H.L. Oder is the name on it. It is another sad bride story. Allegedly, a lady's ghost haunts this particular area. Really cool stone though. I like it. They really seem to like the book symbolism here. Oh, that is neat. Minnie MacDonald has a clawfoot grave. I like that. That's neat. Murphy. The grave has feet. Oh, there's another example of the book symbol on Mr. Buck's grave. Hiram Buck and Martha Buck. I've also seen quite a few with the holding hand symbolism. Like that one. There on their monument is a finger pointing down from the clouds at a broken pillar. That's interesting. The hand of God smiting earthly glory. And then a book, another book of course. And an urn. And it looks like on this side some grapes. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day now and head on back to my car. But final summary, is this cemetery worth a visit? Definitely. It's a very interesting cemetery. It does have some of the best and most detailed ghost stories and paranormal legends attached to it. Is it haunted? As you know, I always like to try and keep an open mind about those things. So I would say maybe. It does have a bit of a spooky vibe here, so I'm not gonna say it's not. Definitely more so, I would say, towards the back of the cemetery. by the Civil War plot, and then fading as you get closer to the entrance. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed joining me for this jaunt through Greenwood Cemetery, and I hope to see you again for my next adventure. Bye for now.